Hello, it's James Caldwell, the Pearland guitarist. You know, as a person who sits and practices classical guitar for upwards of 2 hours a day, I've always sat in the traditional classical guitar position with one leg elevated, foot resting on a footstool. And I thought I'd show you my footstool collection and showcase my latest footstool, which we'll get to at the end. So in front of me I have two typical footstools that you can purchase on Amazon or at music stores. The metal one, it's collapsible, it's adjustable, has rubber feet. And I have that around here for my students to use. And this footstool here, very similar design, but it's wooden. This is the footstool I used for many years until it broke. And what happened was one of the legs cracked and this metal pin would pop out. I was still using it, but I'd sit and practice and unexpectedly the thing would go crashing to the floor. So I knew I needed to replace it, and I thought about getting another one just like it. However, I was aware of some fancy handmade footstools that were available, that were out there. But the more I looked at them, the more I started thinking I could make my own footstool. I'm not an accomplished woodworker, but I have some tools and I like to make things. So let me show you my replacement for this one. So this is the footstool I've been using for the last 5 years or so. And it's solid wood. It's not adjustable or anything. And I made it. It's a core of Baltic birch plywood, and the side pieces are Shadua, I believe, was the wood I used on this one. And it's basically made with a bandsaw. If you look on YouTube, you'll find lots of woodworkers that make bandsaw boxes, and I just used that technique to make this footstool. And I made two just like this and sold one to a student of mine. And I really like the idea of the curved top. If you think about it, your foot is not flat, and sitting with your foot on a flat surface at an upward angle for any length of time isn't really natural. Having the curved top meant that I could slide my foot forward or backward, kind of changing the angle of the leg to the foot, and also the toes could relax and curve over the forward slope. And I really like this footstool. I got a lot of compliments. Students come in and notice it. I took this design and just modified it very slightly. And the next generation was this footstool. And it's almost identical. It is, however, slightly shorter front to back. Well, just a little bit shorter front to back, and it's taller, and the angle of the top has changed slightly. I just kind of sketched with a pencil till I came up with something I liked. And this particular one, I made a batch of 3 at one time, and I've sold 2 of them. And this one, I put it in a drawer and kind of forgot about it, and I just looked back there and found it, and it's actually really nice looking. I like that. But I've been using the original design for the last 5 years, and this one's unused. So it's available if anybody wants it. Well, what I've found when I sit and practice is that increasingly I'll have my toes on the footstool and I'll lift my heel up, raising my leg even higher, and I'll kind of just be like, not tippy-toed, but I'll have just my toes resting on the footstool and my foot angled up. And I found myself doing that more and more often. As a matter of fact, I remember that when I was using the old flat wooden footstool, when I'd sit and play, like I say, 1.5 to 2 hours, I'd find myself rocking it forward on the front legs, changing the angle of my foot and my leg, and raising my leg even higher. And I'd find myself playing a little while like this, and then resting it back. And I generally don't move around much when I play, but for any length of time, it's hard to stay in that one position. I really found myself lifting that heel up more and more frequently, and I thought it would be nice if I came up with a new design that would support my heel and get my leg up even higher. And let me show you what I got. Ta-da! This crazy looking H block. Don't know what else to call it. It kind of reminds me of a puzzle piece or perhaps History Channel logo. And as odd as it looks, and it doesn't even really look like a footstool, it works really well. Last night I sat and practiced for 2 hours and I used this thing. And I had to move it around a little bit to find just the right spot and the right angle. But with my toes resting here and my heel up resting here, I really liked it at first. The only drawback I see at this moment is that with your foot bent like that for so long, after some length of time, my foot was starting to feel numb, tingly. And so I would take my foot down and rest on the ground for a moment and put it back. But I sat and played with it for 2 hours. I like the position it puts me in with the guitar. It's really elevated. I can kind of lean into it. And it's great until the numbness sets in. Anyway, this is my latest footstool design. It's also bandsaw box type of construction. The core is Baltic birch plywood again. The sides on this one are ribbon sapele. It's just some wood that I happen to have, and I have enough to make, I think, 2 more with the ribbon sapele. But I may modify the design slightly for the next generation. Anyway, that's a look at my footstool collection and my latest design. I'm going to continue to use this one and see how it works for me in the coming days. All right, thanks for watching. If you have any comments about footstools or any ideas, put them in the comments below. I've been James Caldwell.